Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, Larry W. Brooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, Larry W. Brooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we had over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good day. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network Live. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you on this Thursday, live from the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center at 2600 South Loop West, Suite 310 here in Houston, Texas. We invite you all to stop by. Let's talk real estate. We're here for you every day of the week. Man, it's a great day to be here. Huge shout out to everybody that's checking us out live on YouTube and Facebook. I want to invite you all to get involved in today's show. You can leave this week's guest a relevant question in the comments section, and you never know, we may be able to get your question answered on this week's show. I want to take some time now to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, he's a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. I want to thank him so much for signing in and checking us out and hosting the Prime Real Estate Network Live with us this week. And I want to introduce to our audience, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. How are you? Larry, you muted.
There we go. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Every now and then you get a little rusty. So, it's been an early morning, early start to the morning, and just trying to keep caught up on everything, man. Everything's good, Rick. How about yourself?
I know, man. Appreciate you for signing in. As the people in our audience can see, Mr. Brooks is also chiming in from the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center, man. Appreciate your time, man. It's always great to have you sitting in on the pod. What's been going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King? What can you catch us up on? And what's been going on in the world of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm?
Man, I tell you what, we're in a hot market right now. I like to say we just ended the National Association of Realtors Conference was here in the city of Houston this year. So that was this past weekend. Had an opportunity just to fellowship with other brokers out of Chicago, New York, LA. A lot of those people were in town and just really had a chance over the last 2.5, 3 days to just fellowship and just kind of see what's going on in their market, see how it is that our market may be a large difference from what they have. So just building those relationships and then of course attending the classes that's going to give you a little bit more knowledge on where the industry is, man. So it was really, really good week and just having an opportunity to partake in that as Brooks and Davis too.
You know, the great thing about having these conferences, especially here locally, it gives brokers like yourself opportunity to talk to other real estate leaders from different parts of the country. Correct. Does it ever make you appreciate being able to practice your trade in the state of Texas and the city of Houston after you talk to other brokers from all over the country in different areas and hear some of the struggles or challenges that they got to work through in their markets?
For the most part, I do feel like Texas is a special market. I always tease people by saying we're our own country when it comes to how we move here in Texas. And, we did the National Association of Realtors the conference actually did a tour of some of the communities that we have in Houston. So people were really, I would say, those places that do have zoning, they were amazed by we don't have zoning in so many of our areas here in Texas. So I think that really stood out, and just to hear the oohs and the ahs and stuff as that took place as well. So yeah, I'm definitely always excited and happy to be in this market at this time right now.
And you know, I urge everyone in the audience to hear Mr. Brooks's message, because if you're an investor, if you're a buyer, there are a lot more relaxed rules here in the state of Texas than they have in different parts of the country. So if you're looking for areas to invest, areas to build that nest egg, the areas to start generating that generational wealth, City of Houston and the state of Texas is a great place to be. So I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. Today's show, Larry, as we go into the fourth quarter of the business year, you as a business owner and entrepreneur, myself as a business owner and entrepreneur, we start gathering everything up to be prepared for 2026.
That's right.
Also, get prepared for tax season, making sure all those things are squared away from a bookkeeping and accounting standpoint. And that's why I'm so excited about today's show. So Larry, for the members of our audience that's going to be meeting our guests for the first time, could you talk a little bit about how you were introduced to this week's guest and how you were able to gain her commitment to sit in on the show?
Definitely. So I had the opportunity and the pleasure to attend, and I may have mentioned this on one of the previous episodes for one of the guests that we had, but I had I ended up attending what was more of a educational and wealth building seminar at Rice University on behalf of the Panhellenic Awards that they typically do the day before. So at this event, had an opportunity of while taking in my breakfast / lunch. Myself and this guest sat at the same table, had an opportunity to exchange business cards and find out what each other did. And I was like, oh my God, you're doing amazing things. Had a chance to follow on social media and see how strong her business is, how strong she's growing in her business. And I just wanted to make sure I got in front of our audience, give these people that have been following us and trusting us over the last 6 to 7 years an opportunity to hear from someone that I think is doing amazing in her profession. And I wanted them to get a chance to feedback and also, to get a chance to do some business with someone that's leveling up like her as well.
Absolutely, man. I want to thank you so much, man. I want to take some time to introduce this week's guest. This queen is not only an accounting expert, she's a tax expert. She's the CEO of All For You Tax Services, but most importantly, she is a proud Army veteran, and we want to thank her for her service. I want to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Miss Nisha Parker. Thank you so much for sitting in with us today, Nisha.
Hi, thank you guys so much as well. It's such a pleasure to, be here, and I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for sitting in, man. First things first, for the members of our audience that's meeting you for the first time, Ms. Parker, could you introduce yourself and introduce All For You Tax Services?
Yes. So, just being transparent, first thing first, y'all may hear some filler words because I stutter, but, that's just a part of my journey too. And I just wanted to put that out there, because that's what helped me, pretty much set myself apart because, people, who may be afraid, my motivation is pretty much, just still stepping out on faith, no matter what's going on, so, I just want to just to put that out there. But with that being said, my name is Nisha Parker, the CEO of All For You Tax Services. We are a full service veteran, tax and accounting firm where we do personal taxes, we do business taxes, corporation taxes, we do bookkeeping. We, do it all. You can just pretty much call us your one-stop shop, because we, pretty much, geared towards just making sure, not only just personal, but, business owners especially, be okay, especially when it comes down to tax season. So, we help you tax strategize and, we, just make sure that you're good. So, how you mentioned I'm a veteran, served in the military for 12 years, just retired in 2022. And that's when I've been that's when I formed my business, again, been working it 24/7 since.
Now, this is great. Thank you so much for your transparency because you bring up so many relevant questions that I want to ask you for our audience. Mm-hmm. First thing, you leading a veteran-founded company. Mm-hmm. For so many veterans that live here in the city of Houston, sometimes they may feel as if they're underserved professionally, from realtors, tax accountant professionals, mortgage professionals. So for those veterans that are in our audience and they're going out and they're seeing a tax office on every corner, what type of things should they look for as far as tax preparation? And what is it that makes Offer You Tax Services stand out and the best place for veterans to come to make sure that they're taken care of from that standpoint?
Yeah. So first thing first, you will want to make sure that who you're working with, they have some type of visibility, like, so, like whether they have a website, whether they're listed on Google, because then you can do your you can do your due diligence, to do some research. So, then, just look at their story, just know like how, they pretty much show their reputation, because I'm big on reputation. So, just, first see that, and then, make sure, that they lead in their company, first with integrity, and then they are, pretty much a trustworthy company, because doing, like just trusting somebody with all your, personal information, that's not, a simple thing to do. So, just knowing that, and what sets me apart is pretty much, like when it comes down to, coming from, that military background, my discipline, the way, that I carry myself, you can pretty much find me, on, not just social, media, but you can Google me, you can reach out to my, like current clients, and they, like they'll pretty much tell you, Nisha, she's big on, like her, quality of service for one, and then she's big on, just integrity, and then, not just that, but, most clients, they want to know like what's going on with their taxes, so what sets me apart, guess we give that type of education, so like I let you, okay, so this is what your tax, this is what your tax return shows, but this how you can save for, next year, so that's the difference. Like we just don't file your taxes. We help you tax plan.
Absolutely. And for people like Larry and myself who didn't have the opportunity to serve in the Army, could you talk about how when you retire from the Army, some of the things that you may have saw with tax preparers in the past, where they may not have had the experience necessary to handle everything about what you had going on at the time, or in with your background, how can you help those in the military work through some of the challenges that somebody without your experience may not necessarily be able to help them with?
Yeah. So like while I was in, plus, transitioning out, most tax professionals, they think that like military/veteran returns, they're filed the same, so this niche is not well known. So what sets me apart, being a veteran, just knowing how to approach them, just knowing how to speak their language. Like, like most people don't even know, like what a, like a military, like what W-2 looks like, or let's say that somebody was deployed, like when they're deployed, that portion of their taxes is, tax free. So like most tax pros, they don't know that, and like veterans who receive, like disability, that's not taxable. Like most tax pros don't know that. So, just being able to relate to them, that's pretty much what helps set me apart, and then because I know, just knowing that like most tax pros, they don't really know, me coming in, and just pretty much bridging that gap for them, just does my heart so good, because I know that they need that. So that's what I'm here to do. Yeah.
So, Nisha, we talked about your tax services, being ready for tax season. Can we talk about your accounting services?
Yes.
How you help people organize their financial resources, get more of a arm around what they're spending versus what they're bringing in. Yes. What type of tips or what type of advice can you give those who haven't come in and talked to you from that standpoint?
Yeah. So, not only do I do, tax preparation, but I do bookkeeping as well, which is huge because that goes, pretty much hand in hand when it comes down to doing your taxes. So, most business owners, they pretty much wait until tax season comes and then they'll be trying to scramble. or some business owner, they commingle funds, so they have a business, but they use their personal bank accounts. So so like where, like we come into play is, we just sit you down, just see how your books are, and just pretty much just set you up for the future, to where when tax season comes, you're not stressed out. So my tips is, for those, who don't have a hold of your books or don't like have a clue of what's going on, now would be the time, to take a look at your profit and loss statement, because it's good to do that, to have time to pivot before, December 31st, because once that happens, then it's going to be too late. So, my recommendation is usually to start from January, because then you'll have the whole year, to, like make adjustments, because there may be certain deductions that you can claim last minute, like most business owners, they don't know that. So, when it comes down to, bookkeeping, I stress that enough, because business owners, they sometimes think that they can do their books themselves, not realizing that they setting themselves up for failure. So, get you, somebody who knows what, who knows what they're doing for one, and can, pretty much help you, set yourself up, plus your business up for the future.
Yeah, and I want to ask Mr. Larry Brooks this. Larry, for our audience, being a broker for as long as you have, can you talk a little bit about the value that you found in bookkeeping and accounting from a small business perspective, and how working from January to December, staying on top of it, and to Nisha's point, not just getting it all crammed in at the last month, how has that helped to build Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, how you've evolved from that standpoint as a business person, and how important is it that you take bookkeeping and accounting super serious?
No, it's definitely, especially when you're looking at in the real estate industry, one of the things that myself and Michael have always wanted to do is be able to scale. And so when you get to thinking about, your bookkeeping and things like that, we wanted to scale. So one of the strengths of our bookkeepers is they help us with our invoicing, right? So when it comes down to our agents that are on a monthly plan and being able to receive their benefits that way, or receive the monies from them, our bookkeeper actually helps us send out our invoices in order to get those things taken care of. They also help us keep up with those numbers so that we always got a P&L and things like that. But then even deeper, as it comes around the tax season, the awareness and the ability that they have of studying this industry, because the tax code changes every year. There's something that's different, something that's added, something that's maybe been taken away that they're aware of, and they know how to put those things in place to help your business save money. And what you can do from saving money is actually be able to place that money back into your business in order to keep it growing and keep it marketing and keeping it in front of other people. So it's definitely a part of your business that you gotta put front line. Like that's got to be a part of your team immediately. Don't be that person that's trying to be your own TurboTax. That ain't what we do.
Nisha, and Larry brings up a great point. So Nisha, could we just go through for our audience what it looks like as far as booking consultation time, setting that first appointment with you, Ms. Parker? What does that look like? What goes into that for somebody in our audience that's hearing you and wants to do some work with you over at All For You?
Yeah, so you can visit my website, which is www.allforyoutaxservices.com. And when you get there, you'll see the list of my services. So you'll see, bookkeeping, you'll see, a link to, let's say that you need tax strategy, let's say that you need your, taxes done. You'll pretty much find my link, my, Calendly link, plus my, availability on whatever services that you, need. Again, we just don't do that, but we help businesses, like register, their business the correct way, because most business owners, especially when they're just starting off, they don't really know how to structure it, so that's where we come into play. Okay, so like if your business is making, let's say 30 plus, you shouldn't be running a limited liability company, strictly. You should, transition into a corporation, so, that's another part of what sets us apart, because, being a business owner, can just, knowing just how these tax laws is changing, again, like what can help you, save more, we just pretty much, just now, bring those services to life, that way we can just help across the board. So yeah, anybody who, like what needs me, just visit my website first.
No, thank you so much for sharing that information, because your testimony is so uplifting and inspirational, because you mentioned that you retired from the Army less than 5 years ago.
Yep.
So I've always been intrigued on how you've been able to come so far in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
You went from serving our country to becoming a business owner, CEO, starting your own company. What does that look like for men and women that were in your same position, that are transitioning out of the military, who may not necessarily know exactly what path they want to go down? How were you able to get singularly focused and work towards getting your own company started and flourishing in less than 3 to 4 years?
Yeah. So, so prior to me getting out, I got my master's degree, which was in accounting. Thank you. So my whole thought was like, okay, you have your degree, now what? So like what I did, prior to, was just like working little like bookkeeping jobs here and there, but then like when I retired, that's when it really hit me like, okay, so, do you want to work for someone, or do you want to just build, your legacy? So, because I have a lot of people, who look up to me, plus I have younger siblings, my, family, cousins, etc. That's pretty much was my motivation to, move forward, plus set that example. Because I don't have a lot of business owners, within my family. So a lot of them do look to me, so my motivation came with, okay, that you can do this, because that's just how you're, built, because I have always been a go-getter, because I've been working since I was 14, so just transitioning, from the military, it was tough, but I knew that I had to figure something out. So, like what I did was just start working under someone. But then the next year, what I did was just step out on faith. It was tough because I started with just 5 clients, and I was so discouraged, but I have a good support system, and then I like have a good relationship with God, so like what I did was just pray, then I said, God, if this is for me, just lead me, and literally from year 1 to now, God has blessed me with hundreds of clients now, and they just still coming because, but that goes back to just my reputation, and then what I have to give, like when it comes down to, like real quality services.
This interview has been just so enlightening and inspiring, because 2 of the words that I think about when I think about you, your brand, your company, first thing is courage. The second one is confidence.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, when you were a young woman, where do you feel like you had the courage to enlist in the military? I'm really curious to know, when you were in high school, what might have been like your thought process? And then secondly, I want to talk a little bit about the confidence that it took for you when you were leaving the military to start a company, to be forward facing. And when you're working with the public, communication is so important.
Yes.
So where do you get the confidence? Secondly, the courage first. Courage, then confidence. Could you just talk a little bit about where that comes from with you, Nisha?
Yeah, so the courage came from because like my mom, she was in the military too. So yeah, so that's pretty much where that came from. And then my godmom as well. So like when I was in high school, the military was not a thought on my mind. But then just seeing them, just kind of just like join, etc. Like my mom, she had set me down, and she was like, like I think that this will be good for you. So like I had enlisted in 2011, scared as can be, but I did have their, support to, like help got me through, until, 2022 when I retired. So the courage, pretty much came from my mom, because she was pretty much, that example for me, and then plus she, she was super supportive, the whole time like I was there, plus my, like rest of my, family as well, because I have a, close knit family, so, like no matter what, what I do, they're like rooting me, to the next level. So that's the courage. Now, the confidence, I haven't always been confident, because like I said, my stuttering, stemmed from a child, so like I never, thought that I can be, sitting up here with you, talking in front of y'all, but, just in business, just knowing that, certain situations, God is going to stretch you, then you're going to be put in these uncomfortable, positions, which is crazy because this year, God has just been, just pretty much dropping speaking engagements in my lap, which has been challenging, very, not my thing, but it has been, just so, so like good, just seeing, myself just step outside of my, comfort zone, plus not letting my stuttering, hinder me from being a blessing to someone else.
That's right.
So now, that I got that in my mind, now, when it comes down to my confidence, that's why you can kind of see more, of that kind of come out now.
I want to commend you, Queen, on your evolution, your growth, because I'm sure even if the members of your family don't always give you your flowers, I'm sure you serve as a great example for nieces, nephews, cousins, sisters, brothers. I don't know if you're a mom or if you have kids, but there is no challenge that they should walk away from when they see how you've developed yourself, poured into yourself, and evolved into someone who's so forward facing and is such a great communicator. So I want to commend you on that first and foremost.
Thank you so much.
And with that being said, for the members of our audience, because your story is so powerful.
Thank you.
That I would like to meet, greet, and interact with Miss Nisha Parker. How, when, and where can we make that happen?
Yeah, so like how I mentioned, you you can schedule, consultations with me, by going to my website at www.offviewtechservices.com, or because I tend to like work virtually, because I have have a mobile app. But those that want to meet me in person, I do have a space. Have a space on Travis Street. So that's 808 Travis Street. Downtown Houston. Next year, we'll be doing a business and brunch event. Where we're going to be talking about taxes. Business. That's coming soon, so like I definitely put that out, that way y'all can just, come and learn, / meet me in person, but then we always doing something, so like if you follow me, on social media, like we post updates there, but definitely my website as well.
Absolutely, man. This has been a great interview, Queen. I want to thank you so much. I know me and Larry joke every week that we host our show on the most busy day of every business owner's work week. So thank you so much for carving some time out your schedule, man. Your story is so inspirational and enlightening. I want to urge all of the veterans in the greater Houston area, follow Ms. Parker, stop by Offer You Tax Services, because you need someone who's walked in the path that you're walking in. To help set you up for success. Do you have any final words for our audience, Ms. Parker, as far as how they can take advantage of tax season? Yes. Some things that regular people may not necessarily take into account that you could share with us in closing?
Yeah, so now will be the time, for, those that don't have businesses, let's say that you may work a 9 to 5. Now is the time, to change your withholdings, so, change your, with W-4 before, tax season, because of course, we know that's how, much taxes they take out, how much you make. So that, again, for my business owners, those of you who may not have a good tax person, or, let's say a good, bookkeeper, now will be the time, to do your research now, and just make sure, that your, person that's going to be handling that, knows what they're doing. So look for the red flags, because like you had mentioned like there's a lot of professional, tax preparers, but the difference between a tax preparer, and a tax professional, is we just don't tax file, we tax plan, plus help you set up yourself for the future. So, just, keep that in mind, and those of you, who may want to do something, but just may be afraid, take my story, can just go out and do it. Keep God first, because he's going to help guide you, but just do it.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say.
No, that's outstanding. I want to thank you so much, Ms.
Thank you guys so much.
No, it's been an honor and a pleasure. You always have a seat with Larry and myself as we move forward. Please keep us top of mind as far as any events, anything that we have going. We would love to always share that with our audience.
Absolutely.
You always have a place with us. We look forward to speaking with you soon, Queen. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you so much. God bless y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, come on, Mr. Brooks, man. If that interview didn't pick you up, give you some wind behind your sails to just move forward for the rest of this week and the weekend, I don't know what other interview could. What did you take from that interview, Mr. Brooks? What will you tell somebody about today's interview if they weren't able to sit in and hear it themselves?
Well, definitely. The thing is, Rick, one of the things that really stands out about the interview is that none of us can get around where we're standing when it comes to tax and being ready for taxes, right? At the end of the day, if you're going out and you're creating an income, you need to be able to financially protect that income. And that's kind of what it is. Like I hear a lot of people always tell stories about, being upset with people that, what would we say, on the wealthier side because they're not paying as much in taxes, right? So if you're a person that's out there doing your own taxes and you don't have someone in your business or a partnership or a relationship like Ms. Parker that we just had on, then you're going to always find yourself upset at the people that are not paying taxes. So it's important that when you do pay taxes, that you pay your share of the taxes in the legal realm of what that needs to look like. So what that looks like is you having a tax preparer that understands the laws, that can put you in the best financial situation to hold on and keep most of your money that you need for yourself, your kids, your business of growth. And so I can spend 10 toes down on this because I've been building businesses since almost over 20 years. So at the end of the day, I can definitely speak on this. And I think that's what I'm going to take away from it most is her passion for the service that she provides to people and her ability to help them take their businesses to the next level.
Absolutely, man. That's a great message, Larry. I want to thank you, man, because Ms. Parker, having her on the show is something that I think everybody in our audience could learn from and take advantage of. What's going on this weekend in your world, brother? I know we're getting close to Thanksgiving and all that stuff, holiday time, and it gets really busy here in the fourth quarter. But what do you have planned this weekend in the world of Mr. Larry W. Brooks?
The most important thing taking place is the Houston Texans got a Thursday night game. Y'all need to go outside somewhere, either go to the game, it's in H-Town, and enjoy it. Myself, I'll just be kind of laying low somewhere. I think I talked to a couple of friends. We may be in the city catching the game. You never know, man. But at the end of the day, that's one of the most important things taking place. And of course, for anyone that is out there, because we are in that season where we're looking for maybe a new brokerage home. We at Brooks and Davis would love an opportunity to interview with you. We'd love an opportunity to tell you what it is that we do, what it is that we offer our agents, the reason why our agents are so successful, the reason why our agents they typically get with us and they stick for many years. So please feel free to reach out to me at 281-924-4954 so that I can give you more information on that moving forward.
And before we sign off, I got to ask, what's going on in the world of LB3? How my man doing? What we looking like up there?
He's good, man. I was going to actually go down there this weekend, but after speaking with him, he is not going to be a part of the competition that's taking place. So, hey, he's good. He ain't got no complaints, man. Getting my grades. That's the most important thing.
Well, I got to ask you about Larry, because I thought while he was in high school playing football, that is what ignited your passions as far as your football fandom. So I'm impressed that you are continuing to follow the Texans so closely, considering that now your son has evolved past high school and you still got that fire burning. So
that is pretty true, man. That is pretty true. I have, you know, you got to find something to do outside of working all the time, right? So I think my leisure is the ability to keep up with the sport.
Look, man, great, man. Appreciate you for being so candid with us, man, because, you know, we like to keep up with you, the fam, and make sure everything is still going copacetic. So thank you so much, Mr. Brooks. Yes, on behalf of myself, Ric Davis, and the Texas Real Estate King, we want to give a huge shout out to everybody at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. Huge shout out to our super producer, Jay Joseph, behind the scenes here on the Prime Real Estate Network Live. Until next Thursday at this same time, everyone in the audience, please be safe and be blessed.
Be blessed.